I'm going to tell you like the four criteria. What are the four dangers that comes with having a scattered application in your business? Before you even start using any software, you need to have a long time goal. What are the key things that are important to you today? And in the next 10 years, or in the next 1 year, in the next 4 years, this same thing needs to be important to you. These are the right ways to make a sound decision before adopting any software. So you can start small and build and scale over time, still using that system. So there is a concept that happens mostly in business, and that's what we're going to be talking and discussing about today. So it is called the dangers of using scattered or disconnected applications for business owners. So before we even dive further into today's topic, so I want to first lay the foundation and let's explain to you what the concept of scattered applications means. That's the concept behind it. So I want you to think of it like this. So for a business owner, right? Let's say you give services, and what you do, you offer logistic services to your clients. So for that, it means that there are different segments in your business. So the first segment is the sales segment of your business, whereby you need to follow up with your client, you need to follow up with leads, you need to know what are the clients in your pipeline to close that deal with them. So that's the sales segment. Now the next segment is what we call the finance segment of your business. So that involves your accounting. It also involves your invoicing. It also involves you generating estimates. It's simply the financial aspect of your business, from the expenses your business incur, balancing the books, right? And also the other segments you're looking at is, let's say there's a marketing, your logistics. So let's say you've already started doing marketing. So that is, I've been able to mention three segments in your current business. So we've talked about marketing. So it means you creating compelling messages that can that can actually make people to take an action. And that action could be, maybe let's say, go to your website, sign up, or fill a form, which can be a lead magnet and all that. So those are marketing steps. And the other part of your business is now the logistics operations. How you deliver those services to your client. So those are the four segments in your business currently. So this is the concept of scattered application. So now let's go to the first one, which is the sales part. You have a different software. Let's say the software you're currently using HubSpot CRM, or you're using Salesforce CRM, or you're using Zoho CRM. That's for your sales. Now for the finance, you're using, let's say you're using QuickBooks, yes, or you're using Sage, or you're using Zoho Books, or you're using Odoo, right? So those are other finance softwares. Now we've been able to touch on the sales aspect, the finance aspect. Now we're going to the marketing. Now you have other marketing tools. You're using a separate marketing tool. So business is scattered application is the process whereby you have different applications in your business, different applications that handle different things in your business. So that is the concept we call scattered slash, or you can say scattered connected application. So this is very dangerous for businesses, right? The reason I'm saying this is because we also have some experience of this. Because today we're going to be listing out to explain to you in details what are the challenges that a business that you're currently doing this, or you're planning to start getting software. If you don't take this area seriously, so you're going to experience a very big pain later down in the future. So the idea of this video is to enlighten you and to you to understand what are the downsides, what are the dangers of using scattered application. Okay, so since I've been able to lay the foundation, now you understand the concept of scattered or disconnected applications in your business. So I'm going to tell you like the four criteria. What are the four dangers that comes with having a scattered application in your business? So the first downside is that you get to have a scattered data, right? So just like the way we explain this, imagine you have a different software that handles CRM, that's the CRM software, and this is where you list out all your customer data, right? All the customers, you have them in the data. Or let me even say, most people are still using Excel, right? You already have this data in Excel, right? And you've imported those data into the CRM of your choice. Now, let's say you're currently using HubSpot CRM, or you're using Salesforce as your CRM. Now, that is the sales part of your business, which is fine. But the moment now you want to start issuing invoice, you want to charge your clients. Now, this is where scattered application happens. The right way would be for you to go get a separate accounting system, which is, let's say you sign up for Zoho Books. Now your CRM is Salesforce. Now your financing accounting system is Zoho Books. Now you have two different applications. So this is how scattered data happens. It is not always convenient for you to generate an invoice from a customer that is already sitting in your CRM and you're invoicing him to another application which handles your invoicing. So what happens is that you will definitely have that customer record in two of those software. In your finance software, the customer's data will be there. In your CRM, the customer data will be there. So that's the I'm trying to tell you how this happens in real scenarios because we've seen this happen over and over and it's not funny. Now we are moving now into the marketing aspect. Now you want to start sending, let's say, email marketing, or you have new products, new services, you still want to reach out to your clients to inform them about your new offering. What happens is that that same customer database, you have to put it into your new marketing software and start doing your marketing. So you see, you've been able to duplicate one set of data across three different softwares. So that is how scattered application happens. And the downside to this, you start having duplication, incorrect email, incorrect data. The data in this particular system won't be updated. And the pain behind this is that, let's say a particular client A, you've been able to talk to them and they gave you their new updated, what's it called? They gave you their new updated information. Let's say that is their email. How would you be able to populate it? So it means you have to update this information across three software. So this is how scattered data happens. It makes your data chaotic because those three systems most times won't be able to talk to each other, which is what we call integration. Some systems might be limited, and we can also do integration, but there's a cost that always comes with it. So that is the concept of having scattered data. So scattered data, you start having scattered data, incorrect data, and most of those data also will be duplicated. So this is the big challenge you're going to face, right? Which is the first point we are laying down here is scattered data. Now, what is the second point you're definitely going to encounter? It is what we call increase in cost. Increase in cost, this is we focusing on the cost of getting those software. Now, it would have been easier for you to get a full ERP software whereby that software can handle all your business. You pay for that software once throughout the year. Rather than you having your finance application, you're paying a different pricing. Most of these companies they might charge you in dollar. So you pay here, you pay for all those applications separately. So over time, what happens is that you start pulling out cost. You start incurring cost to acquire the software and to run the software over time. So that is one of the big challenges. The second challenge you're going to face, which is what we call increase in cost of acquiring the software. So over time, this software becomes expensive, right? And the pain behind it is that if you need another operation or another software, you still need to go pay for a separate application. And over time, the big issue, another thing I just realized saying this is that now you have three softwares. You're going to have three different ways you log into all the software. So for this the sales, which is the CRM, you have a different login. For the accounts, you have a different login. For your marketing, you have a different login. Operation, you have a different login. So you see it's stressful and it's scattered. So that's the second danger. The second point, second area you get to struggle with is that you tend to increase cost over time running all these applications. So because we want to make this video as brief, as short and detailed as possible. So the third thing you're going to face is what we call integration challenges. This is very, very important. Integration challenges. So I'll give you a real scenario. So the last 2 months, we were talking to a particular client, right? So this client, they've already invested heavily on a particular software, right? And just here, you can look it up. The name of the software is called Poster POS. So the idea of this software is that it serves as a point of sale system that can help any organization to punch in, let's say a client wants to order this item because if they sell their into restaurants like food. So you punch in all those items into the POS and it generates the receipt. Like the normal way every business run whereby you point in your order and that's it. So that was how they started and this organization over time they increased in numbers. They have different locations right now. So what ended up happening is that so they are now at a stage whereby they really want to understand the financial state of the organization. This is doing the account. Because when it comes to accounting, there are some key parameters that every business will want to know as a skill. So there are some reporting like the profit and loss statement. There's something they also call like the balance sheet. They also have, let's say they're into inventory, they want to have an inventory valuation report whereby they get to know what is the total sum in value of our inventory so far. So many reports like that, or they want to, for some, let's say for this same accounting system, they want to be able to trace each expenses. So what some organization do is something they call chart of account. It helps the accounts people to point in to direct the direct expenses. So if an expense for, let's say, logistics is incurred, it can be posted under an account of like expense, and it can be tracked in the chart of account. So those are the key features they wanted to do. This as they diversified the business. But the issue was that the current system which they've been using for years, there is a big limitation. That system cannot do all these things. So that is where they started looking for another system to bridge that gap. And that is where integration comes in as much as both systems, because each software has its own API document, another software has its own API. So you have to read both API documents in order to bridge the system, to connect both of them. So that is where this integration challenges comes in. So you can the areas you're going to experience integration challenges. One, they might be limitation because this particular client, there was limitation in terms of some of the things that can be integrated. Some of those records could not be integrated. So that's the first challenge. Then the second challenge is the cost it's incurred on them because they have over, let me just take a number, they have a lot of outlets right now. They scale over time. So integrating that same thing, they want to introduce a new system. And now you adding a new system, you have to do an integration with your existing legacy system to the new system you want to do and replicate the same process for the total number of outlets you have. Now you see how this becomes complex just because there was no well detailed outline of what are we trying to achieve let's say in the next decade. What are the key things that will be of importance to us before we start using this software? Because before you even start using any software, you need to have a long time goal. What are the key things that are important to you today? And in the next 10 years, or in the next 1 year, in the next 4 years, this same thing needs to be important to you. These are the right ways to make a sound decision before adopting any software. So in as much as features of software are good, but you also need to look at having a system that can give you one basket of applications and very flexible. So you can start small and build and scale over time, still using that system. So for the same time, so that was the issue. They had integration challenges. So the integration challenges, it affected them in terms of the limitations, or that some of the systems, both systems were not ready to work together with based on the API documentation limitation. And the other feature, the other challenge they experienced was the fact that it secured a huge sum for them to be able to integrate the new system to the old system. So there's a lot of integration challenges that happen. So from the complexity, from the developer cost, and down to the other option. So there's a lot of challenges that comes under this third point we were talking about, which is called integration challenges. So yeah, so that's the idea. Now the fourth, which is also the final point we're going to be talking about today, concerning the dangers of using scattered application as a business. Very important is the fact that you're going to experience issue when you're trying to scale. So it's what we call scalability challenges. Yes. So just like the earlier explanation I gave you about the company, right? So now they want to scale to a more diverse system whereby they get to have sound accounting reports to know the financial state of their business, right? So now there's a scalability challenge. And scalability challenge is something that always hits you hard in the face. And it's so obvious you can't even say you didn't notice it because think of it this way, you started with a system that will not allow you to scale, to grow as your business grows. Rather, the system is only limited to what you started with, let's say today or last year. So this is a big issue. Now let me give you a perfect example. Let's say currently you're in one location, you just started the business, right? So everybody wants their business to grow and to flourish. The next 2 years, you are believing that that business should be able to, let's say, you want to increase in terms of outlet, you want to have multiple departments or multiple team members or multiple locations. Now, your current system will not give you that liberty to grow. Like if your system, the software will not allow you to grow with your business. So that is what we call scalability issues. And most of these systems, they don't tell you, but they all have that challenge, right? And most of them, it's not like it's intentional, it's because the system was not really made for that, right? Because at some point, your business operations might expand. So that is where scalability challenge comes in. So in as much as I've told you the 4 points, the 4 big challenges you're going to face as a business owner or as a big corporation or enterprise using scattered applications. The particular application runs your finance, another application runs your sales, another runs your marketing, another runs your business operation. So the best way to go around this is that before you onboard on a software, try to look at the futuristic benefits of using the software. One, you need to outline, like I said earlier, what is that thing or the future that is important to you today and the next year the future will still be important to you. That's the first consideration. Now, the second consideration we need to also look at is how vast the system is. So these days, people, it's always advisable for you to use what we call an enterprise resource planning software. It's called ERP. So what the softwares like that they do is that they give you a they give you like a basket of applications that are kind of like used to equip your business. So, for example, one of the software, right, we always advise people. Currently, we have Zoho. So Zoho is one of those applications that whereby or Microsoft Dynamics, so those are applications that are very robust, right? Whereby they give you so many applications, but over time you can get everything your business needs in that single application, from your finance, from your accounting, from your inventory, and it goes as far. This is for Zoho. It goes as far as now you have Zoho has up to 60 applications, right? So there are some out of those 60 applications, some of those applications might not be tailorly built for what you're looking for. So they also give you an option that's a low code programming platform where you can build an application or a software based on your preference. So this particular one, this is what makes sure that you're not limited in any of the four problems we just talked about. That's from just having scattered data, it eliminates that, meaning everything you need is in one system. Now, we also have increasing cost. You only pay for a particular plan. There are two ways you can go around it. First, you can pay based on the application you need. You pay for those ones. So once the need arises, you need more applications. You just go back and pay for the one you need. Let's say you started with two applications. And this goes back to reinforce the point I made mention about, which is called scalability, which is I think number four, the last point, scalability. So think of it like this: you're a small business, you started with one application. Now you're multinational. You now notice you need more other apps features. So a system that allows you to add those applications as you scale. So scalability is very important, very very important. So those are the benefits the system helps you to do. And just to cut this to end this video, my advice for, let's say, you're a business owner and you're looking at diving into software, don't just buy any random software. Rather, ask yourself this simple question: this software I'm getting, right? I know it's going to handle my today problem, but will this software have the capacity to handle the future needs or challenges that may arise in my business? So that's all from us from my end today. So I'll see you in the next video.